Hello Go enthusiasts! Today we're making a 5-minute guide video to the 3-3 opening. This one is the most controversial topic out of all Go openings, and hope you guys enjoy. So the 3-3 opening is very common. It is played all the time now, and it is very controversial. Before we dive into it, this video will contain much of what I do in my game. I play the 3-3 Joseki a lot, just like many of the pros nowadays, many of the AIs, many of the top strong players. So it's a major part of much of all of our games. And so this way we can understand how strong players play, understand the AI, we can play stronger, we can see what went right or wrong, and this will allow us to, again, talk very intelligently about the topic. And before we dive in, just remember the Joseki patterns that we're going to see today are not so important, not as important as the ideas behind the Joseki's moves. And the ideas behind will help us play Go in whatever circumstance, whatever situation we find ourselves. And most importantly, they will help us play in the middle games, where it's more game deciding than the openings. Okay, let's continue to the controversy. The 3-3 opening has never been, I've never seen a more controversial topic than whether to use the 3-3 invasion on the board. The 3-3 is also known as the San invasion, the San meaning 3. And as you guys know, 3-3 is the third row, third column locally, which is invading a corner. And some of the things I have heard is, I swear to never play the 3-3. And 3-3, people have a very big inherent unwillingness to play in many of the Go players, because the 3-3 opening Joseki is the one totally original, almost totally original contribution to Joseki, to the Joseki dictionary that the AI has provided for humans. And so it's very heavily an AI invention, innovation, and that's why many people do not like to play the 3-3. They have never learned the 3-3, the ins and outs. They have not watched the 5-minute guides on the 3-3 openings. And there's a sort of a rage against the machines thing going on, which is, this is first discovered with AI games, and I refuse to bow down to our machine overlords. Okay, so that's one aspect of it. Another angle is many people do not understand the ins and outs of these 3-3 Josekis, and then they say things like, it is fine for AIs, but it's beyond my understanding, so I don't recommend this because it's not a human thing, and humans haven't totally understood the 3-3 openings. And another part is the 3-3 is on the inside, it's very territorial, so for the influence type of players, they don't like to be, getting territory on the very low thing. And many people just disagree with the AI. Sometimes they say the 3-3 invasion is just plain bad. I don't care what the AI says. Here you can see a lot of how stubborn people can get. Okay, so this is some of the background on the 3-3 and the controversy, and how people have very strong opinions on the 3-3 invasion. And so here we're gonna go into some of the some of the reasons why the 3-3 has become so popular. And before we dive into the specific shapes and Josekis, let's first point out why the 3-3 has become the most popular thing ever. And that, to do that, we are gonna go look at the main how the Go, how Go in general is played. What are the 3 most important values in Go that strong players are fighting over? It is, just as we had mentioned before, thickness, territory, and influence. And the revolutionary sort of realization that we have come to nowadays is that the 3-3 opening is not just territory, and it helps, of course, to look at the game in terms of fighting over all 3 aspects. And here we can see here on the top left, Black's corner has territory and has thickness. It's important to realize that you have more than just your territory crawling below, right? It's very, very territorial. You have more than your territory. You also have a very, very safe group in the corner. You also have some amount of thickness. And so therefore you have 2 out of the 3 values. And this realization is why the 3-3 has gotten very, very popular nowadays. Just realize you're getting 2 out of 3, not just territory. And the second realization is that the player who is on the outside, the start point player, before people generally thought of the outside player as having had thickness and influence. Influence is potential territory, thickness is safety. So before people thought the outside had a lot of development potential and is very, very safe. And so before, people generally thought of this, the basic 3-3 Josekis as the invader getting only territory, but the defender, the start point player having thickness and influence both. So there was a little bit of a imbalance there, favoring the outside, the influence player. And nowadays people realize because of the thickness angle to this whole situation, it's a lot more balanced than before. And that's why the 3-3 has gotten very, very popular. It is very, very fast. If you think of it this way, you get a safe territory that's also destroying your opponent, and you're not letting your opponent have much thickness. So that's a central reason why this 3-3 has gotten very, very popular. That's why the AIs started playing it. That's why humans started playing it. That's why I am playing the 3-3 all the time now. And it is not a difficult thing theoretically, it is not difficult to wrap ourselves around this. Okay, so with this said, it is time to go look at a few specific 3-3 variations. Right, here is a Joseki library, and I am using the OGS Joseki library. And you can see here on the top here, it's just onlinego.com, Josekis. You can also go to this part by going to OGS and clicking Tools and Joseki. You can use any Joseki library. They will all tell you what you need to know, which is all Joseki libraries will be insufficient if you're looking to trick very strong players, and they would be more than sufficient if you want just enough. Okay, so yes, the 3-3 involves first one player taking the start point, which is a fast development, influential, like 4-4 point, and then the opponent invading at the 3-3 point. And this is all the controversy. And I will show you the original basic Joseki before AI came, and that was this one, hane extend, and white plays this hane connect, and black play in this tiger mouse. This is the original 3-3 Joseki, and it was never played because people generally assumed correctly, evaluated correctly, that this is favorable for black. And remember back to our 3 pillars of value: territory, thickness, and influence. White does have territory, but black, because of this tiger mouse shape, black gets a lot of eye space. Here at R15, for example, here at S14, black is generally fairly strong. So along with the influence, the reach across the board, the potential territory, and this relatively strong shape, it was correctly identified that black was much better. And this is why people never played the 3-3 right in the beginning. Okay, and so AI's contribution to the Joseki knowledge was, at this point, white is able to now tanuki without playing that hane connect exchange. Beforehand, people generally expected that, thought that if white doesn't play the hane, then black plays the hane, and this would be sente, and that's just way too much. It's a double sente, it's too big. Now, the contribution by AI was, if white can crawl one more move, white can tanuki again. And this is 2 tanukis now, and this makes it not only much more acceptable for white, for the corner player, but also it's just a little bit better for white in the corner. Locally, of course, it's very good for black, but 2 free moves with 1 free move, still good for black. 2 free moves, now good for white. And it was this ability to tanuki at this point that really made this basic shape possible to play for white. And this is still relatively even, but not bad, no longer bad for white. There is another move which is here. This is going to be sente. White is now going to have to play this exchange. So remember before, this is favorable for black, but now black played an extra move at N18 this turn, which is a not the biggest move on the board. So this kind of cancels out. This is also even. So still all very, very even. In fact, right now, if white were to crawl one more move, that would still be good, because when this extra crawling move on the second line just ensures that this hane connect is not sente for black. And it also takes away that turn by black being potentially sente. So needless to say, before AI days, crawling on the second line was a huge no-no for Go players. And so this is why crawling, making this extra crawling move on the second line is just shunned. And nowadays, if you want to crawl one more time, it's totally okay, because it takes away the next sentes. In fact, the only sentes black does have in the corner is to extend down here on the second line. And then like this, white is a little bit smaller than before, but still very comfortably alive. And black is actually not as strong as this shape, where black has some eye space involved. So this is the whole thing, realizing that black's thickness on the outside is not as strong as people realized, and that white's corner position was actually stronger than people realized, and that allows white to use the extra strength in the corner to tanuki, and the ability to tanuki was what made this possible. Great, yeah, so this is AI's biggest contribution, making the basic Joseki shape playable and totally totally reasonable, and you guys can see it's not that difficult to understand, right? White had to exchange a bad exchange, which made black very, very strong. And white can just not do this. White is still strong enough, and white is still strong enough, and black is just not as strong as before, making making moves on the outside very possible. For example, this move by white will be able to threaten black. A very common follow-up move is to peep, and if black does answer, play something like this, and we can see that black's overall shape is not unassailable. And so something like this is the most important thing to realize with this outside shape, is that black is not totally strong, and that's what makes it possible to play for white. Okay, so make sure you guys play accordingly, and you guys will do fine. And the game goes on. Black is also fine. The game just goes on. Okay. Okay, and next white can play at B or C, and it's okay. Okay, white can also play at A. Okay, good. So this is a basic upgrade to the original shape, which made it very, very playable for white. Okay, now a second thing, another common Joseki beforehand was black playing this double hane and then capturing 2 stones, giving white 1 stone. This Joseki was very common as a response to the 3-3 before AI, and it is very, very common nowadays as well. Locally speaking, this is about even, and before people expected this to be much better for black, and the reason was influence-wise, both sides have about the same. White is reaching to the upper side, black is reaching the right-hand side, and territory-wise, black has 10 points in the corner, white has much less than 10 points. So people generally thought of this as fairly good for black. Nowadays, it's come to realize, because of how good this pushing move at 10 at 016 is for white, this is fairly even, slightly favoring white if nothing else happens on the board. The key to realize here is black captures 2 stones, white only captures 1, but white captures a stone clean off of the board, while black has not captured the 2 white stones. In fact, white generally will want to make it 3 stones with 2 liberties. So after white plays the push, the influence is actually favoring white a little bit, because next move white can hane here in sente, next move turn can't be blocked, and that would be very bad for black. So after this move, black either plays this move or blocks to capture, maybe here, but that just gives white more sentes. Maybe here, but that also gives white more sente moves. So generally this position is reached, and here, because white has this 12 in sente, white actually has more potential development territory, more reach across the board than black, which is what makes this position very, very even. So it's very tempting for black to start trying to surround the right-hand side. However, this way we would still have a 50-50 influence, potential territory reach across the board. However, here is where the lack of agi with the total capture for white shines over the having some agi where black has captured 3 white stones. And the agi is white has this move in sente with 1 more move. White basically has a sort of an extension shape like this. where it's the territory is not enough to surround because it's not big enough to surround this. And if you don't surround it, white will have a relatively easy time to make a few points here and totally destroy black's potential territory. So it's a case where it's like, I don't want to surround this because it's not that big, and if I don't surround this, I can't attack white. So it's blacks, because of this agi, it's much easier to destroy the right-hand side potential against black than it is to destroy the top potential for white. And that's where this kind of, again, balances out. Black got a bigger corner, but the potential favors white. Okay, sometimes white can also tanuki at this point. The last move is an optional move to complete the Joseki, worse a whole move, but from all the influence and the potential that we talked about in that variation, and also okay to tanuki. The next move would be here for black. Again, okay. Note how white presses because there's a follow-up sente move to hane, but black plays the knight's move because black doesn't want white to... these exchanges does not necessarily favor black because white still is able to invade the right-hand side with that same agi we talked about, but now black has lost the ability to play something like this and invade white's top, and also put pressure on white. So note how black plays the knight's move, preserving the ability to play the knight's move again to attack and harass white, but white plays the push because push is the tight move that allows an follow-up sente move. And often black also tanukis and the game would go on. So this shape is also even for both sides. Okay, and so these two basic Josekis pre-AI aside, which is now discovered to be okay for the 3-3 invader, some other ones are this knight's move here, and this used to be the play by black in order to try to achieve sente no matter what. This one here, and basic shape is headbutt and then hane, and then black can safely tanuki. Now, safely tanuki, but here there are two follow-ups by white, atari and extend. And here, all the same ideas. White gets a solid corner, black has a stick, but no thickness. Therefore, when white plays around here, white is able to threaten black. And that's the biggest contribution, again, by the AI for modern Josekis. Another one is to atari here, and then directly go into fighting. Note the crawling move at 8 is very important, makes the turn not sente, gote for black. So ideally black jumps here, and then white plays this move to keep fighting, plays this jump to have a fighting defense, attack and defense sort of balance. And so this continues with complicated fighting. More often, the AI will recommend white playing this move. This way, black is the only one that is on the defensive. Okay, and when black extends, this is also often played. Do crawl until the turn is not sente, and this Joseki also ends. White is actually safe, even safer than before, with just 2 third-line stones. Now white has 1 more third-line stone. Black is safer too. This peep is less sente than before. There's 3 stones here now. So this is also totally okay as a Joseki, and it's very similar to the basic Joseki that we had before, which looks something like this. Again, biggest contribution by the AI is to realize that white does not have to exchange the hane and connect. Okay, and so here another one here a note to point out, this attachment on the second line can lead to some very complex Josekis. This is called the newest flying knife Joseki. Just look how many variations black has at this point. I'll just show you guys a very common one. Okay, right here, here. Yeah, just look how many moves it is, and I'm surprised. Okay, yes, 1, 2, 3. Yes, play here, connect. Okay. Yeah, white has a sente. White has a sente seki, and something like this. So the corner is divided, and the white gets the bottom right hand side, black gets the top left hand side, and generally about even. Very complex Joseki, and so the 3-3 can sometimes lead to quite complex Josekis. And just like me, you guys do not know all the variations. Not even the professionals know all the variations. So when white plays here, extend here is Joseki. This extend is also a similarly even Joseki. Note how it reverts back to this Joseki. And if black plays somewhere else, if white plays somewhere else, black plays here, it reverts back to the original shape Joseki as well. So this is totally okay. And right, so black can avoid complications like that, but if you want sente for sure, then black will extend. And this is the simplest Joseki. It happens absolutely all the time, this extend. So the most common variation is for white to play this knight's move, and then black will tanuki, play A or B somewhere. If you want to continue here, C, D, and the hane all work. And notably, E leads to this Joseki, which is, again, even white gets the corner and safety, black gets to cut off one white stone. This move, that's also a Joseki, and that, I think, is going to fall under this type, hane and then cut. And this one is a very common Joseki as well. We'll go through some variations. I myself played one game that's exactly like this. This is also very common. This is for when black wants to keep control of the left-hand side, and white just Ataris transitions to the right-hand side. Another common one, white Ataris here, and capturing is okay. Now note, after we capture, this is similar to the original Josekis, except black is able to complete this turn at N18. So generally speaking, this is slightly better for black, but white is playable because white is totally alive in the corner and is able to tanuki and play other big things. More often, white would play the Atari and extend out. And the fighting is going to escalate into the right-hand side. And this is, again, also very popular and played quite a lot. So as you guys can see, we're racking up the Joseki variations count. It's quickly becoming very untenable, and we haven't even gotten to the complicated parts. So if you guys remember, if you're looking to avoid too complicated of an opening as black, you just extend, and this would be totally okay. If white cross, we play one hane move and we can tanuki. if white plays this jump, which is another popular one, the move is to, we can press out, and then the basic one is for white to extend, and then the important move is to play the headbutting move, and then block, because this Atari is Sente white cross, and this Joseki also ends right here. Black is stronger than the normal Josekis, but so is white's corner. Okay, if white plays the diagonal move, play this knight's move, next move, n17 is Sente, and this is very similar again to this kind of a shape, which is very, very even. Okay, so some even simple variations. If black plays this move looking to go into complications, just headbutt and then hane. If you headbutt and he extends, this is slightly favorable for white. So, right, here. Okay, push and then cut, and then hane live in the corner, and then we can extend out, and this is slightly favorable for white. Okay, also more complications. Okay, so on both sides we can avoid complications by extending or white by headbutting and then haneing. Anyways, avoiding complications highly recommended, but learning the variations also highly recommended. Now remember, the most important thing with the 3-3 is to remember that when you have a group and you know that so Tanuki is okay, and then and the next move for white is here. Know that the general principles is much more important than the basic variations, where, for example, in a position like this, realize white has the strengths and the territory, and black does not have the thickness, and therefore like an extension move is very big. Don't extend too big now, because white's invasion would also be an attack against the 3 black stones. Extending small is big, which again just makes it that black is not as efficient as the original Joseki, which was correctly identified as good for the outside. Okay, so this is a quick synopsis of some 3-3 Joseki variations without going through the complicated stuff. So here, let's look at some live game examples to see how the Josekis are used in the game. And remember, the most important thing is to realize what you have and what your opponent has, and play according to your resources. This game was played in the 1990s between Ye Weiping and Zhou Qikun. We saw this in the other 5-minute video. And here we see both players playing out the original old variations of this Joseki. And remember, back then, people definitely thought and expected that black definitely needs to play this hane connect. And the reason why they played it back then, so locally white gets a lot of thickness, is happy, but the reason why people played it back then was people thought, if white has these 2 triangle marked stones, these double extension, the 3-3 is going to make at least one of these very inefficient. In this case, it is the D10 stone. Black has another crawling move here, so white is not surrounding much on the left-hand side, making this 4th line start point stone inefficient. White is also a bit inefficient with this J4 triangle stone. Remember, with thickness, you want to play further away from it and try to make your moves on the outside and stuff. So certainly this J4, if it was at K4, closer to the right-hand side, White would be happier, which is why Black was able to choose this Joseki. Nowadays, we can play this Joseki without any redundancy in White's stones. Just to note, we prefer to have stones farther away from our thickness because, as you can see later, White played this L5 move. Now imagine if this stone was a bit farther away, for example at here, then White can probably get away with not playing L5, therefore accomplishing the deed with one move rather than with two moves. Okay, so back then people generally thought the 3-3 had to be finished with D2 and C2, and now we no longer need to play that, and the realization is AI's greatest contribution to modern Go theory, and it's totally valid according to general Go principles, as we had said: thickness, territory, and influence. Okay, nowadays people realized with help of AI that Black doesn't have to exchange those two stones, and therefore it's totally okay to play out in the open. And this is our Fox window. This is a game that was just played a few days ago. This is Kujie, and we'll see this. This is an example of the modern 3-3 invasions. Black plays here, block, and here White chooses the simple variation: extend, get Sente. Black plays here, the knight's move, and then White look for White to Tanuki and play somewhere else. Okay, and the game goes on. And here in this case, the fact that White does not have thickness is emphasized when Black plays this move. This is a good example of, remember, know your resources, know what resources you have on the Go board, and use your resources accordingly. Right here, White does not have safety or thickness, therefore Black plays this move, forming an attack against the White's 3 stones. Later on, this will force White to respond in this corner. If this shape looked like before with White having thickness, I am sure Black would play this move somewhere around here, where it's farther away from the thickness, and that would sort of entice White to play outside here, closer to the thickness. So since White does not have thickness, Black is okay to go here and sort of punish and attack this White group, pressure this White group. And so you see how this Joseki is used and the follow-ups that occur. Now just remember the Joseki variations are not as important as knowing the types of resources that you have on the Go board. So if you don't play the next part, the follow-up parts right, then, remembering the Joseki is not as, it can be, detrimental to your game, even if you remembered all the right moves. Realize the resources that you have so you can plan your follow-ups accordingly. Okay, and so this game would go on, and here we'll see White making note of the fact that the 3-3, the 3 stones is a little weak, so makes a protective move, and later on, right. Okay, and we see this move too later on, where Black is forming thickness and also really attacking the now 4 White stones here. And so here we see this plan in action, and okay. Yeah, now we see white is in very much in danger here on the lower corner. Yeah, this definitely could not have been accomplished. That attack could not have happened if they played the old Josekis. This game is between Li Changhou, who is white. He is the greatest player of all time, certainly the most championships of all time. He is still playing nowadays. And here we see the same 3-3 invasion very, very early that is played in this game. And here white chooses the knight's move. Remember that, okay? And here black chooses to avoid the complications, headbutting, and then playing the hane. White plays elsewhere, and then black later would play this Atari and this extend to end this Joseki here. Here again, remember the resources that you have and don't have. White does not have thickness, and therefore later on when fighting occurs around here, white is going to be a little more careful. For example, right now, white plays this move as an extension from the 4 stones. Even though white is not surrounding much territory, there's this turn and this jump. White still plays this because it strengthens this 5-stone position in the corner very much. And so, realize it's much more important to realize the resources that you have and don't have on the go board, and then play accordingly. And here black certainly realizes that as well, invades and attacks white. Be careful. So you can imagine how if you didn't think you were weak and you played like very strong fighting moves like here push and cut, you would be greatly overplaying, and that would be bad. Okay, so this game ends with white, continues with white protecting the weaknesses of this group, and realize the word weakness and the outside of the 3-3 position is very, very often used together when we're discussing games and things like that. So definitely realize this is not a it's the most important thing is not the variation, but the realization that white is not strong on the outside. Okay, and you can see here white has a very tough time living with this group, and black has made a very good attempt at capturing the white group. In fact, black succeeded in making white not alive. It's just that in the end white did survive with 2 eyes, and then black also was not able to live on the inside. So this was very complicated. In exchange, black captured 3 stones in the middle, and this is just how this 3-3 leads to a lot of interesting play from both sides. Just remember, realize the resources that you have and do not have. Very, very much more important than the Joseki. In the last example, we have again the simple Joseki follow-up, white tanukis. And in this case, white does choose to connect the bottom side, forming a moyo. And it's very big to do so because white is not that strong. Remember, if white is super strong with thickness, white would rather play somewhere else or somewhere that's very far away from the 3 stones. In this case, white it affects how we plan accordingly. And so if white was strong, white would not continue to expand like this. White might play the 3-3 on the top right, but because white is not super strong, white plays this move, further strengthening this position and then limiting the left-hand side. Okay. In this game, So this is a good example of White still trying to form a moyo with the 3-3 afterwards. Just realize that if you have thickness, play according to the thickness principle, which is far away, and then try to get your opponent to play inside. If you don't have thickness, it can be very, very big, very, very important to strengthen your weaknesses and then make some territory with your questionable groups. Okay, and so here in this game proceeds with black invading here, but white has already made enough strength here to be able to capture black. Okay, so this is a shallow dive into the 3-3. I hope you guys understand the controversy with 3-3s, and I hope you guys are also able to take this knowledge and improve your game, especially when dealing with the 3-3 or playing the 3-3 invasions in your games. And this example game shows why the 3-3 opening has become so popular nowadays. Realize that just because white is a star point player and has a position on the outside does not mean that it is a strong position, and this group can clearly still come under attack, and it is this realization that has elevated the 3-3 to probably the most popular Joseki and the most controversial Joseki choices nowadays. And just remember again, knowing these variations will help you play Go, but realize it's more important to remember the concepts, the different values at play with all Josekis, as opposed to just knowing the variations. You can back out the variations and play generally fairly well, following the principles and not knowing the variations. But if you know the variations but don't know the principles, you can get into some real trouble. As you can see, attack or defend, leaning towards more attacks, can I tanuki or not? These are much more important than just memorizing the Josekis. And hopefully you guys will have a lot of fun, as I do, using these Josekis. Anyways, a shallow explanation of the controversy of the 3-3. It is now very, very human. Now it's played all the time, and remember, Go is a very, very objective game. No matter where the knowledge comes from, they generally follow principle Go, the general Go principles, and the general Go principles are not difficult to understand. You can understand at any level, and even the strongest players falter sometimes in these respects. They just fail a little bit less than we do generally. So you can definitely appreciate what's going on in all these professional games with these generalized Go principles. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this 5-minute video. See you guys in the next one.